Picture this, 29 years ago, humanity made a desperate choice. Not the kind you read about in history books, but the kind that changes everything forever. We packed ourselves into metal cocoons and shot ourselves into the endless black, hoping to find something better than what we left behind. The funny thing about escape plans, they rarely account for what happens after the escaping part. Those early days feel like a dream now. Literally, we floated through space in a pharmaceutical haze, our minds dulled by carefully calculated doses of beta blockers and sedatives. The engineers promised us decades of peaceful sleep, enough chemical comfort to carry us to whatever new world waited out there in the darkness. But here's what nobody tells you about the universe. It doesn't care about your carefully calculated plans. Our drug supplies ran out faster than expected. System failures cascaded through our fleet, like dominoes falling in slow motion. Cosmic radiation fried circuits we'd never thought to protect, and slowly, inevitably, we began to wake up. At first, waking up wasn't entirely terrible. We had each other, after all. Through our brain-machine interfaces, we created a network of consciousness that spanned the void between our ships. We shared everything, dreams that felt more real than reality, fears that echoed through the emptiness, jokes that helped us remember what laughter felt like. In those early conscious months, our fleet felt like a floating city, hundreds of voices, creating a symphony of human connection across the stars. We told stories, debated philosophy, fell in love through transmitted thoughts, and argued about navigation routes we couldn't change anyway. But space has a way of teaching harsh lessons about connection and distance. The tiniest differences in our launch trajectories, variations measured in fractions of degrees, began to matter enormously over time. Physics doesn't care about friendship, or love, or the human need for companionship. It follows its own ruthless mathematics, and those mathematics were slowly pulling us apart. One by one, ships began drifting beyond our communication range. At first, we fought against it. Many of us, myself included, attempted to force our way out of the stasis pods to access manual controls. But the systems that were supposed to protect us had become our prison guards, keeping us locked away from any real agency over our fate. There's something uniquely maddening about being trapped inside a machine that's supposed to be saving your life while watching everything you care about slowly disappear into the distance. The network that once buzzed with hundreds of voices gradually thinned. Strong, clear signals became weak and intermittent. Conversations became fragments. People became ghosts of static and half-received thoughts. Eventually, many voices went silent entirely, whether from system failures, cosmic accidents, or simply drifting too far away to bridge the gap between us. I used to try filling in those gaps, imagining what my lost crewmates might be thinking or experiencing. But imagination is a poor substitute for genuine connection, and eventually, the effort became too painful to sustain. When someone disappears beyond your ability to reach them, they might as well be dead. Sometimes I wonder if some of them actually are. The isolation of deep space does something to your mind that's hard to describe to anyone who hasn't experienced it. Imagine being surrounded by infinite emptiness while trapped in a metal box, barely larger than a coffin. The universe becomes simultaneously vast and claustrophobic, endless and confining. You're surrounded by everything and nothing at the same time. As my consciousness fully returned, and the last of the sedatives worked their way out of my system, hope began to feel like a luxury I couldn't afford. The original plan, find a new world, build a new civilization, seemed increasingly naive. We weren't explorers anymore, we were just debris floating through the cosmic void, each following our own trajectory to nowhere in particular. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Sometimes the universe gives you exactly what you need, just not in the form you expected. As our grand network of hundreds collapsed into smaller clusters, then pairs, then isolated ships, I discovered something profound. Connection isn't about quantity, it's about quality, depth, and presence. There are still a few ships within functional communication range of mine. The signals aren't perfect, they never were, but they're clear enough to matter. And among these remaining connections, one has become particularly strong, particularly meaningful. One signal that cuts through the static better than all the others combined. This single connection has given me more genuine companionship than our entire original network ever did. When you can only barely communicate, every transmitted thought becomes precious. Every shared moment carries weight. Every exchange of ideas or feelings becomes an act of profound intimacy. I've realized that sharing the vast emptiness of space with another conscious being, even from a distance, even through imperfect channels, can feel more full than any crowd ever did. There's something beautiful about knowing that somewhere out there in the darkness, another human mind is experiencing the same impossible journey, wrestling with the same questions, finding meaning in the same meaningless expanse. Perhaps this is what we were really searching for, all along. Not a destination, but a companion for the journey. Not a new world, but a new way of being present with each other, despite the distances between us. I still hope the other nearby ships will remain within range. I still dream that someday, our paths might cross again with those who drifted too far away. I especially hope that my strongest connection will stay my strongest connection. But I've learned that hoping and controlling are two very different things. We're all subject to forces far beyond our understanding or influence. Cosmic winds, gravitational fields, the fundamental chaos of a universe that operates according to its own mysterious rules. I can't control the trajectory of my ship any more than I can control the trajectories of others. All I can control is how I respond to whatever comes next. So here I am, 29 years into a journey with no clear destination, and I've made a decision. I'm going to try to be happy with where I am. Not because this is where I plan to be, but because this is where I am. I get to journey through the stars. I get to witness the impossible beauty and terror of deep space. I get to share this experience, even from a distance, with other human beings who understand what it means to be lost and found at the same time. There's something profound about accepting that aimlessness might be as valid a destination as anywhere else. Maybe the point was never about arriving somewhere specific. Maybe the point was about learning to be present wherever we find ourselves, to create meaning and connection, even in the most unlikely circumstances. This cosmic isolation has taught me that we don't need a perfect plan to have a meaningful journey. We don't need to control our destination to find value in our path. We don't need to be surrounded by hundreds of people to experience profound connection. Sometimes the most important discoveries happen when we stop looking for what we expected to find and start noticing what's actually there. Out here in the emptiness, I've found something I never knew I was searching for: the ability to be fully present in uncertainty, to find companionship in solitude, to create meaning in the face of meaninglessness. The universe is vast and indifferent, and beautiful, and terrifying. We're tiny and temporary, and insignificant and precious. These contradictions don't cancel each other out. They exist simultaneously, creating a complex reality that's richer than any simple story about heroes finding new worlds. Whatever happens next, whether my ship continues to drift alone, whether I maintain contact with my closest companion, whether we somehow find our way to solid ground again, I know now that the journey itself has been the destination all along. Every moment of consciousness in this impossible place is a gift. Every connection, however brief or distant, is a miracle. We came out here looking for somewhere to call home. Instead, we learned how to be at home with uncertainty, how to find family among strangers, how to discover meaning in the most unlikely places. That might be the most human thing of all. Our ability to create significance and beauty and love, even when floating lost among the stars, even when everything we thought we knew has been stripped away, even when there's nothing left but us, and the endless dark, and the choice to keep reaching toward each other across the void. This is our story. This is how we learned to turn isolation into intimacy, distance into connection, aimlessness into purpose. This is how we discovered that sometimes the most profound journeys are the ones that take us not to where we plan to go, but to who we were meant to become.